Between May 27th and June 1st, 2026, parts of Sichuan province in southwest China were once again battered by intense and persistent rainfall, triggering a dangerous series of landslides across one of the nation's most geologically vulnerable regions. Days of relentless downpours, saturated mountainsides, weakened already unstable terrain, and unleashed destructive slope failures that disrupted transportation networks, damaged infrastructure, and forced emergency evacuations in several communities. Sichuan is no stranger to geological disasters. Its rugged mountains, deep river valleys, and complex fault systems make the province especially susceptible to landslides during periods of prolonged rainfall. As rain continued to fall across large areas of the province, concerns grew among local authorities and geological monitoring teams, who closely tracked changing conditions on thousands of monitored slopes. Among the hardest hit areas were Luding County, Libo County, and portions of the Ganzi and Ya'an regions. In several locations, cumulative rainfall totals exceeded 200 millimeters within just a few days. The relentless precipitation infiltrated soil layers, increased underground water pressure, and gradually destabilized steep hillsides throughout the region. One of the most significant incidents occurred during the morning of June 1st, 2026, in Luding County. After several days of continuous rainfall, a large mountainside overlooking National Highway G318 suddenly failed. At approximately 7:30 a.m., thousands of cubic meters of rock, mud, and vegetation cascaded down the slope, burying a major section of the highway and bringing traffic to a complete standstill. National Highway G318 is one of Western China's most important transportation routes, connecting Sichuan province with the Tibet Autonomous Region. The closure of even a small section can have major consequences for transportation, logistics, and local communities that depend on the route for access to supplies and services. The slopes in Tianquan are already steep and unstable in many parts, and after several witnesses described hearing a deep rumbling sound moments before the collapse. Large clouds of dust rose into the air as debris engulfed the roadway below. Initial assessments estimated that roughly 15,000 cubic meters of material had been displaced, covering nearly 70 meters of highway and creating a hazardous environment for motorists and nearby residents. Fortunately, the area had already been identified as a potential danger zone. Geological monitoring systems had recorded increasing slope movement and elevated moisture levels in the days leading up to the event. Based on these observations, local authorities issued precautionary warnings and ordered evacuations in the immediate vicinity before the landslide occurred. Those early actions proved crucial. No fatalities were reported in the immediate collapse zone, highlighting the effectiveness of modern disaster preparedness measures and early warning systems that have been significantly expanded across Sichuan in recent years. emergency response teams quickly mobilized following the incident. Personnel from transportation agencies, geological departments, fire and rescue services, and local government agencies converged on the site. A temporary command center was established on higher ground to coordinate operations and monitor slope stability. Protective steel mesh, rockfall barriers, and reinforced anchoring systems were installed on surrounding slopes to reduce the risk of additional collapses. Authorities maintained strict monitoring throughout the night due to continuing rainfall and concerns about secondary landslides. Less than 24 hours after the Luding County incident, another major landslide struck Libo County in the Liangshan Yi Autonomous Prefecture. The event occurred during the afternoon following nearly 5 consecutive days of heavy rain that had saturated the region's mountainous terrain. A steep hillside overlooking a rural valley suddenly gave way, releasing a massive flow of earth, rocks, and vegetation. The landslide stretched approximately 300 meters across and generated an estimated 20,000 cubic meters of debris. Several enormous boulders, some comparable in size to compact vehicles, tumbled downslope and scattered across farmland below. In the Ebian-Yingjing corridor and other mountainous districts, emergency maintenance crews worked around the clock to reopen transportation links. Some roads remained inaccessible for many hours, while others required temporary closures until engineers could verify their safety. The widespread nature of the rainfall event placed significant pressure on emergency management agencies. However, years of investment in disaster preparedness and monitoring infrastructure allowed authorities to respond rapidly to evolving conditions. As conditions worsened, warnings were issued through multiple channels, including mobile alerts, local broadcasts, and emergency communication networks. Residents in threatened areas were advised to remain vigilant and follow evacuation instructions when necessary. Provincial authorities launched a large-scale emergency response operation. Within the first 24 hours of the most significant incidents, more than 3,000 emergency personnel had been deployed across affected regions. These teams included geologists, rescue specialists, firefighters, transportation engineers, medical workers, and local volunteers. Their efforts focused on protecting lives, restoring transportation routes, monitoring unstable slopes, and ensuring affected communities had access to essential resources. As recovery and stabilization efforts continue, authorities remain on alert for additional rainfall that could trigger new landslides in already saturated terrain. Residents living near steep slopes have been urged to stay informed, follow official guidance, and remain prepared for changing conditions. The June 2026 landslides in Sichuan serve as another reminder of the powerful forces that shape the region's landscape. Although modern technology and emergency planning have improved resilience, nature continues to test communities living in some of China's most challenging environments. Thank you for watching Storm Station. We are dedicated to delivering the latest weather news and natural disaster updates, always working hard to keep you informed and safe. We are extremely grateful and happy to have you with us. Thank you for your support. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay safe. See you in the next video, the next